Hello and welcome. I'm Kingsley Gree from MMOplay.com, and this is Cosmic League. Cosmic League. It's very, as you just saw in that little cinematic there. It's a very strange looking game. Something we don't actually see around here too much. So how do I describe it? It's very anime-y. So if that immediately, is like, I don't want nothing to do with anime, then this game is probably not for you. So there's my character, and the frame rate's a little chuggy here. This is a very incredibly high graphics intensive game. Just choked on my tongue there. So I do have this on low settings, but it does look a lot better. It's like surprisingly high quality. It's pretty crazy, actually. Like, this is like a full-on, like, not console, but like, like Steam release kind of looking game. Looks very nice. Very, like, almost AAA kind of nice. But I had to, my poor little laptop, we had to be playing it at the lowest settings. And the frames are only pretty bad in this hub zone, which, I mean, I'm guessing because there's just so many, objects in that instance world. Once you get into the battlegrounds, it gets a lot better to the point where I actually can play. So if you have an old computer, you can probably play this as well, and it's pretty fun at a base level, I'd say. And that's not a great word to describe it, but it's fast, it's fluid, it's interactive, it's immediately obvious about what you're supposed to do. Like right there, it says fight. It's very colorful, it's vibrant. If I had my biggest complaint, and the reason I'm actually not going to play this game at all, is because for some reason the boosting is completely out of whack. I don't know what they were thinking. I said it controlled well, and I meant that in general, but the boosting is so bad. It's like I had to double check and make sure my settings weren't wrong. I had, to double check things to make sure I wasn't using it incorrectly. But no, it's just complete garbage. And I'll get back to that in a moment. But as you can see, I'm running around. I'm shooting people. I've got those crosshairs, or it's not really crosshairs, but that aiming reticle in a general direction in front of me, and that allows you to lock onto any enemies within that. And I'm also pressing in on the middle mouse button, I think, to extra lock on, which will lock my view, so I don't have to actually point at them. We'll just shoot. So you shoot around. Your shooting is going to be your main weapon. I don't think it actually does a lot of damage. And it may be on an ammo constraint. I don't remember at this very second. You also have a sword that you can, melee people with. So this is just the starting guy. He's kind of your generic character that I mistakenly picked. So this little battleground is very strange to me because I thought it was going to be like a team deathmatch kind of situation. Especially since it said matchmaking. But no, it just kind of pitted me against bots with bots. That was very weird. But it was cool to get in here and not have to worry about dragging down my teammates or having to face people who are so much better than me. Because even the tutorial took, like 30, 40 minutes of just learning to play this game, which is unusual. But I like it. And it taught me all of the mechanics of this game in a very good pace, which is nice. Sometimes games like this don't have that. They just kind of throw you in there. So as you can see, this is a very active menu. It actually reminds me a lot of Phantasy Star Online. You have ship, store, command, place. And then you can pilot your character. I'm pretty sure you can shoot and melee in there as well, but it's not going to actually hurt anybody. So I think I jump right into... No, I got to buy a character first, actually. So I'm looking through these characters. I actually don't like the character design. Like, if you look through, half of those that I just scrolled past, and they all look completely the same. Except for this robot guy that I wanted, but it's like, nope, you gotta have 100,000 credits or something. And I have like 5,000. So I'm contemplating, do I get the frogman? Do I get the emo chick over here? And I go with the emo chick. I thought she looked the coolest, I guess. So it's all very, is fan servicey the word? I mean, I kinda guess. I think I'd refer to it more as just cutesy and not necessarily going for a certain demographic. It's just kind of like, oh, we like this look because it looks cool, and that's it. And that's all there is to it. I don't know. I'm pretty conflicted about that. Well, maybe it's because maybe I'm so Sorry, maybe I'm so conflicted because like there's such a distinct difference between these anime girls and the robots, which are like Gundam, I guess. I actually never watched Gundam. I should watch Gundam. It seems like a pretty interesting show. I love Pacific Rim, so maybe I like that too. Or Neon Genesis Evangelion or something like that. I'm not too familiar with that anime side of things, like Cowboy Bebop and that kind of genre of space cowboy. I never watched Cowboy Bebop. I'm more of like a Trigun kind of guy. Even though those are pretty similar. So anyway, I got off on this little anime rant. But this game is I'm almost entirely certain it's Japanese in origin. And then it was translated and brought over. But the translation is by like, I'm guessing by a small indie localization team. Because there are certain points where it's like, oh, you're just kind of like... I wouldn't say they're not being professional. They're being like friendly, like it's an actual person, which is very strange. Typically in localization, they just kind of like, we're trying to give the exact message that the developer was doing, but these guys are like, no, we have no idea what this text box means, but this is what we think it means, kind of deal, instead of just like kind of winging it. So I'm over here, I'm using my sword mostly because hey, she's got a big ass sword, might as well use the sword. And it all looks and feels pretty nice, except for the boosting. Oh, I should get to the boosting. Okay, the boosting. It makes me so mad. And I like the designs of these characters, by the way. And also the sword swings don't like line up right. And I'll talk about. Okay, I'll get to that first. So when you swing your sword, you think it'd like go to the target and then stop, but for some reason I think you just keep sliding past. It's very strange, and like every time you hit somebody, they go flying. When I want to keep getting melee strikes on them, which is not fun. Like that. Okay, no, that was a bad example because I actually did it. But typically you'll hit them once with like one swing, what seems like one part of the combo, and then they'll go flying. You're like, you still have 2 hits of this combo you got going on, but there's nobody to hit it with, which is weird. Like the sliding on that was weird. Let me see if like, it doesn't even look like there's any boost coming out of your character. So that was very strange to me. Like at a core level, this game like looks and feels pretty great, but then there are certain things that are like, wow, that's just awful. How does this? Who designed this? Who thought this was a good idea? It's very jarring considering how good the rest of the game looks and feels. Like the shooting, like if we just broke it down to the shooting, it feels great, and jumping around, moving around this battlefield, that also looks pretty good. What would you call it with those dark outlines? Is that cell shaded? I don't think it's cell shaded, but I like the black outlines on these. It looks very like cartoony and stylized, which is nice. And also these character models are gonna look a lot better, by the way, in high graphical quality. I wanted to get as many frames as possible, so I set it all the way down to the bottom, and as a result it looks pretty awful. But have no doubt, when you crank it all the way up, it's perfect. It looks fantastic, just like you saw in the cinematic. Looks great. So I have no idea what's going on here, so I'm just kind of killing foes. So finally, let's get to the boost before I forget again or get off on a tangent. So how the boost works is that you stand in place and then you use the boost button. You cannot move to go up, right? And then you kind of pick a direction and then you go forward and you're stuck on that plane, right? So it's like, okay, you know what it's like? It's like an elevator. Like you get to the elevator, you go up or down, and then you get out of the elevator and then travel about the floor, right? And if you want to go up and down again, you have to go back on the elevator. And in this instance, it's standing still with the elevator, right? So you can't do like a diagonal into the air, which was it like felt wrong. It felt so bad. Like even now I'm getting chills about it. Like how can that possibly be okay? But when you're just kind of like, you can boost forward, I think, like as a kind of sprint, a pseudo sprint. But that boost move is so bad. That's probably my biggest complaint about this game. It'd be like, I love this like robots and guns and anime cartoony kind of look. And as you can see there, it's a full-fledged MMO, so you get all that stuff. It's neat, but I think it has a really long way to go before it's something I actually want to invest time in. It does not, at a base level, it does not play well enough, and that is death for a game going for what it's going for. It cannot be like, oh, okay, it looks cool and it has a cool thing, but man, it plays like garbage. That's not okay. You cannot get away with that. It's not going to get away with that. And I think stuff like the boost and like you should be able to snap your targets like with the sword and everything. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. I think right now I'd give this game a 6, which even that's a bit generous considering how much I hate the controls. Certain controls, but it could be just a design decision that I disagree with, which is possible. I hope not. That would make me feel bad for them. 'Cause I'm very adamant on this. It's like for certain games you can be like, oh yeah, we added in, I don't know, pilot controls by default, and it's like, oh whatever. Some people like that, but no, I'm adamant that this boost thing is not great. So anyway, 6 out of 10. That is it. Thanks for watching.